Okay, so this is the most pirated games in January 2017. Don't forget, this chart is for informational and educational purposes only, and if you like it, support the developers and buy it for a fair price. 2 new entries at the very top of the chart. Last month's highest entry was Pro Evolution Soccer, just for reference. Well, this month, and this came in right at the end of the month, actually. I thought throughout the whole of the month it was going to be our second most pirated game. It is, of course, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Now, was this Denuvo at all, or...?
This was subject to Denuvo, and I'm going to put this in quotation marks, Denuvo protection. We're going to talk about this.
5 days, but yeah, we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah, this is going to be in our piracy news section after the chart, so stay tuned for that. Number 2 is the second high-profile crack of the month, I suppose. This is Watch Dogs 2. You can see it on the screen right now, albeit the PS4 version, because that's the one I've got. Now, this was cracked on the 18th of January, so around about the middle of the month. Quite a bit of time before Resident Evil 7, actually. Nevertheless, it's been trounced in terms of... I mean, Watch Dogs 2 was obviously very highly pirated, but Resident Evil 7 trounced it, and I think that was probably...
Because of how new it is.
Exactly, yeah. The Sims 4, City Living, and indeed the complete packs are at number 3. I'm assuming City Living is...
Sims 4.
I know, it's thrilling, isn't it? Yeah. It's extraordinary, actually, that the kind of audience that actually goes for the Sims 4...
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Actually knows how piracy works. I mean, really? I mean, I imagine it's a certain demographic.
Unless they get their friends to pirate it for them.
Indeed, yeah, well, yeah, who knows.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Far Cry Primal. Now, this was actually, I believe this was cracked last month, so that absolutely took ages. That was released close to a year ago now, actually. Pro Evolution Soccer 2017. This, of course, was at number 1 last month. It's now at number 5, sorry.
I mean, it says like 4 AAA games, or three AAA games above it.
Yeah, let's not mention The Sims anymore.
No.
Number 6, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I've got a feeling that's going to be a constant presence in the charts, actually,
for quite a while now,
quite some time, because the single player actually is very good. I don't think the multiplayer works in the hacked version. Number 7 is Mafia 3. Oh, by the way, if I get any of these statements wrong, don't be afraid. I know people aren't afraid to correct me, but don't be afraid to correct me in the comments. Yeah, Mafia 3 is at number 7. That of course wasn't Denuvo, and neither was Call of Duty, actually. Those both use Steam DRM, which is very easy to bypass. Number 8 is Doom. The multiplayer for this is apparently hacked. Most games don't have their multiplayer hacked, but Doom, someone, I think it was Voxy, found a way to basically... I think you can play with other...
hacked users.
Exactly.
Not with legitimate owners.
Yes, you can't jump into the proper matchmaking where people who have bought the game are playing, but you can play with other filthy pirates. And if you're not a regular viewer, we're saying that tongue-in-cheek, by the way. People take these things personally. Batman Arkham Knight is at number 9.
And that's pretty much unplayable, isn't it? Because I mean, that's being drawn from market, like we said.
I think as long as you've got a good enough PC, and by good enough I mean absolutely crazily powerful. Number 10, Rise of the Tomb Raider. That was another high-profile crack. We've got the top 20 incomplete in the description below, as ever. I'm just going to pick out a few highlights from there. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is still at number 15. There's some rumours, actually, that the series is going to go on hiatus because it didn't sell very well.
And obviously they've got rights to an Avengers thing as well, don't they?
Yes, that's right. So they're going to be busy with that, which I imagine would probably make a lot more money anyway. Number 16, God Eater 2 Rage Burst, which I believe is a new entry. I haven't played it. I'm under the impression it looks a bit like Monster Hunter. I think it's a kind of action RPG type thing. Quantum Break is at number 19. That's really hanging on.
I mean, no GTA 5 this month, but GTA 4's in there.
Yeah, I had to double check that, actually. That was quite surprising.
That's not an error, is it?
It's definitely not an error, no.
Right.
Because I do distinctly remember thinking that's unusual. Let's compare this to the UK sales chart. So, you remember the most pirated game of the month is Resident Evil 7. Well, the top selling game of the month is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Again, not much of a surprise.
This is the thing, and I say it virtually every month. I'm going to keep on saying it. I don't care. I'm going to say it. Resident Evil 7 was cracked very, very quickly. It does not seem to have harmed its sales prowess. It's at number 1 in the charts. That's not insignificant.
Sold quite a lot as well.
And speaking of which, The Sims 4... which I said we weren't going to mention again, but we have to because it's in the chart. This was at number 3. It's at number 2 in the UK sales chart.
The Sims 4's a reasonable old game now, I think, isn't it? Like a year or 2, maybe 3 even.
It's a good
I'm not sure if
few
some
years,
new DLCs have came out.
DLC.
I mean,
the DLC Gravy Train just is endless and just keeps on going.
So I'm not sure if like a brand new DLC came out this month or last month, which has made everyone want it again.
Well, we've got DLCs for The Sims 4 at number 4 and 5 as well, actually.
And 8.
And 8, yes. Number 3 is Football Manager, which I don't believe has been cracked yet. Civilization 6 is at number 6. That definitely has been cracked. We've got Farming Simulator. Overwatch is at number 9. I mean, that's a multiplayer-only game.
Multiplayer, yes,
I
so
don't think we're going to see a cracked version of that, to be honest.
No.
And World of Warcraft Legion at number 10. Now, there is actually quite an impressive network of World of Warcraft servers. You can actually play vanilla World of Warcraft or World of Warcraft with certain of the DLCs with other people running the hacked code, actually. It's like Doom, though. You can't play with people who have actually purchased the game, though.
I can imagine it would be a lot more fun, to be honest. I mean...
yeah, I mean, I suppose you don't have to worry about upsetting a moderator or upsetting a GM and getting banned from the game that you've spent 50 quid on. Let's go on to this month's piracy news, and it's actually returning back to the top 2 games in our piracy charts this month. I mean, Watch Dogs 2, first of all. Now, this was originally released on the 15th of November 2017, and then the cracked copy was released on the torrent sites on the 18th of January 2017. That's just over 2 months.
And we thought that was, quite quick, because, I mean, that's for a Denuvo game.
Yeah.
That is quite quick.
For a really big game as well. I mean, it's quite a big download. I think, how big was it? About 26, 27 gig or something like that. It's quite a big, sprawling game, so there's going to be lots of triggers that have to be overcome by the crackers. They did a really, really clever job, actually, getting that turned around so quickly. And then, right at the end of the month, Resident Evil 7, which, as we mentioned at the beginning, took 5 days.
It's just, I mean, we wouldn't have predicted that. No chance.
I mean, that is extraordinary. Now, last month, if you we were a bit late with last month's video, actually, so it's probably, you can probably still see it in our recently uploaded videos list. But last month we were talking about basically some of the gaming websites were covering Denuvo and whether they were offering refunds if their game was cracked within a certain time period, and one of their corporate mouthpieces were saying no, that's not the case. Although we theorised that there maybe was a licensing agreement in place, where the game makers would pay for Denuvo for as long as it works, basically, yes. Which led to a slightly more colourful theory that then the developers will probably be hacking their own games after the 3rd month, so that they don't have to carry on paying for it. But one of the things that slimy weasel was, that gentleman from Denuvo was saying, slip of the tongue, was that he was basically gloating over the fact that the game's launch window, yes, he's saying basically most piracy takes place within the first few months. Now, first of all, we said bollocks to that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's nonsense. Yes, games are obviously pirated when they're released.
Grand Theft Auto 4 in there.
Exactly. So, I mean, how many years ago did that come out?
Exactly. So
this is the thing. Pirated games have a really long tail of demand, and as do legitimately purchased games. They just do. It's one of those things. It's called the long tail of demand. It's basically, there will always be people looking for older stuff over a period of time, and that's true of games that you can buy and games that you can pirate, especially when you consider that older games tend to be a lot cheaper as well. So that we thought was nonsense back then as well. But even if he actually believes his own brand of bullshit, he must be weeping into his muesli that basically their fantastic protection only actually protected Resident Evil 7 for 5 days.
I mean, but so when's Denuvo going bust then?
Well, the sooner the better. I mean, I'm not going to make any secrets of the fact that I dislike Denuvo. I think when you buy a game for your PC, you should not have to install a load of crud just because they're scared of the parts. Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of allegations that Denuvo slows down the games, that it thrashes your hard drive, and if you're running, say, on an SSD, it can shorten the life of SSDs because they're obviously quite sensitive to being thrashed by the encryption and decryption and so forth. It weakens the security of your PC because basically Denuvo is a piece of software that dials home. So does this person have permission to run this piece of software on this PC? Oh yes, it does. Okay, we'll come back and we'll give them permission. Oh, what's that? You say the internet's out. Oh, well, you can't play the game then that you've gone out and paid £50 for. So yeah, I don't like Denuvo. I deliberately do not. Yeah,
I didn't quite get that.
I know it's quite subtle, my dislike of it. But I personally do not purchase any games that have Denuvo in them for that reason, because I think any DRM is bad news, to be honest. But the thing is, as well, I do dispute, and I've always disputed this, and I've done quite a lot of research into it. I dispute the fact that piracy. I'm not anti-developers, by the way. I absolutely support developers in what they do. I think they do a fantastic job, most of them, not all of them, in bringing games to people. I'm not saying that people should go out, pirate games, and never buy games, because that just is a fallacy. People who pirate games are gaming's biggest fans. These are largely the people who spend the most amounts of money on games. And the proof of this, or evidence towards that, lies in, I should be scientific about it. If it was true that pirates did not buy games, why is Resident Evil 7 at number 1 in the UK sales chart?
Exactly, and also a lot of the pirates who don't buy games wouldn't have bought the game anyway. This
is the thing, yeah. There's so many different, and I keep promising to make videos about this. There are so many different effects: the sample effect, the network effect, indirect appropriability, etc. These all lend into this really detailed ecosystem that are simplified beyond belief by imbeciles like the guy who runs Denuvo, who say, if you pirate a game, you're thieving, it's robbery, you're depriving sales from the developer. It's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. So basically, I think for that reason, the fact that Denuvo looks like it's been on the ropes for a couple of months now. It's on the canvas now.
5 days. That chair is just starting to slide, and his feet are just edging towards it, and that noose is starting to tighten.
Yeah, and if we can mix any more metaphor, there's blood running out of its nostrils and eyes, and it's breathing its last gasp. And that is an incredibly good thing, because developers should be putting their money into their games, or they should be saving their money for future projects.
Advertising.
They should not be spending $100,000 plus, which is what the rumoured price is, on crap that doesn't work, like Denuvo, that makes people's PCs and games allegedly run worse, and it's just a waste of time. Let us know what you think in the comments, though. Loads more at parallaxlive.com. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you found the video interesting. That helps us out. Thanks ever so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video.